update. What happened? How long is he out? What's his situation?
Yeah, he was dealing with a little bit of a lower leg infection that really was not too terrible, to be honest with you. And then, today in shoot around, he kind of came in and it was bothering him, but he said he was fine, that he went through shoot around. I think I spoke to you guys after shoot around. They wanted to take him to the doctor, took him to the doctor, and they advised, with the lower leg infection that he sit out tonight and not play. And I think they're testing him just to see, what, that can be done to get him back. I don't know how long he'll be out, but we'll probably have a little bit more information tomorrow after some of these tests get returned.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Billy, our next question here comes from Joe Kelly. Joe, go ahead.
Billy, how you doing?
Good, Joe. How are you?
Good. Hey, was Thad going to start the game tonight before that leg injury? And if he wasn't, what's the thought process with how you're going to use him, Otto? Are you seeing Otto might be better off the bench? I mean, do you guys have an early model of how you're going to do this?
Yeah, I mean, we were not going to start Thad tonight. I think I got asked that maybe earlier this morning. We're going to start, Kobe, Zach, Otto, Lowry, and Wendell, and try to play 9 guys, possibly 10 in the first half. Maybe peel some guys off after the half. Maybe rest some guys to see how guys are doing and responding after the half, and then add some more players into that second half. I think it's something we've got to evaluate. How do we mix and match the group? Not so much the starting piece, but like, do you want to stagger players? What kind of combinations of players? I think all those things we really got to take a look at. I think the hard part for us, Joe, has been, we've had 4 contact practices and 2 days have been a little bit lighter, and we've had 1 off day. So what you're trying to do is spend so much time installing that you're not really looking at a lot of the rotations at this point in time. But, we've got to get to that point, and having these 4 preseason games, hopefully each game we'll be able to find out a little bit more about our team.
So there's no definitive decision of Otto, whether you feel like he might be better with the second unit being that anchor guy, or if you want to go ahead and start him and see how he functions with that starting group.
That's right. We're going to, I think, continue to evaluate that, look at that. I thought it was important, just with Otto tonight, I'd like to get him some extensive minutes in the first half. More than likely, probably not play him in the second half. I thought getting him starting and getting him going would be important. I think I maybe made the comment a few days ago that these starting lineups could change in the preseason, but I felt like with as much time as he's missed, him, I think, having a good camp and being back, I just wanted to try to continually build up his endurance and stamina, because it's been a while since he's really played, and really the group has played. So that's kind of the plan with him tonight going into the game.
Thanks, Billy. Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.
Cody, you're up. Go ahead, Cody.
Hey, Billy, I'm here at the United Center. I was just curious after seeing the setup, like with the tarps on the sides of the arena and just everything being new, and then there's like 2 cars parked behind one hoop. What's the setup like when you see that and for your players?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the situation in Orlando was a little bit different because we were certainly playing in smaller venues. We were not in real big arenas like we're going to be playing in, so it was a little bit different. So, on some NBA calls this week, with each, organization, and then also with the head coaches, they kind of went through what they're doing cosmetically to dress up, all these arenas just to make them look friendly. And I think they're doing as good a job as they can. It's probably going to be a little bit of trial and error. I think one of the things the NBA had talked about was, wanting some feedback on the environment and the situations there. They had talked about, in some venues having cars and, doing different things. So, I don't know, maybe if someone makes a half-court shot, they'll give that away for free.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Darnell, it's your turn. You got the next question. Go ahead.
Thanks, Matt. Billy, I didn't ask you this morning, but I wanted to circle back to Kobe White in that starting lineup. I know you've cautioned us not to read too much into starting lineups, but what went into the decision to give Kobe the first crack at it?
Well, I think one, just looking at him and the fact that I think before the season came to an end, he kind of really had kind of come into his own. I think I had mentioned a little bit when we last year came in to play the Bulls. He was on that tear where he was playing well and kind of maybe started I think the first time we played Chicago last year in Oklahoma City, he really wasn't in the rotation, and then he kind of worked his way in there. Listen, he's an important guy. He's got speed. He's got quickness. He's going to continue to evolve and develop and grow. And, I think it's important giving him an opportunity to try to, play that point guard position, learn from playing it. I know when he started a little bit last year, he was off the ball, and, he had a lot to learn. The thing I respect in talking to Kobe, even before this training camp had started, was the fact that, he felt like he had a lot to learn. He didn't really understand NBA defenses. He mentioned, in pick and roll, it was really challenging getting downhill, making decisions, the length, making passes, thinking things were open and they weren't open, think he can go to the rim and finish and he can't. So there was like a real, I think, growth for him. And, I really respect and appreciate his competitiveness and his drive to, want to keep getting better and improving. But, we got to see how he does back there. I think naturally he's always been a scorer, but I think also the evolution of being a point guard, we don't want to take that away from him and still want him to be who he is. But, we'll see how he can do running the team and maybe having some of those responsibilities. But, he's been eager, I think, and he's been very, very committed to watching film and trying to learn and grow. And listen, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be ups and downs, but these experiences he goes through, hopefully he can learn from. And I feel confident in him that he's a pretty driven guy, as it relates to, being able to bounce back and wanting to figure it out and get it right.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Casey Johnson's up next. Casey, go ahead.
Billy, is one of those cars in the end zone yours? Did you negotiate that parking into your deal?
I haven't seen the cars yet, but I have not done that yet. No, I don't know. I think Matt maybe is trying to work on getting one of those out of there tonight.
All right, thanks. Just want to make sure we still have some moments for humor, even though we're doing this over Zoom, or at least bad humor. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, Rob Schaefer, go ahead, please.
Hey, Billy, just wanted to follow up on the Kobe point. Do you anticipate that he'll start all 4 preseason games, or is that, when you say you want to toy with some different combinations, is that something that you might oscillate?
Yeah, I don't want to say that. I mean, clearly for us right now, the guys that have been the point guards, in training camp for us have been Kobe, have been Sato, and have been Ryan Arch. That's not to sit there and say that any 2 of those 3 guys combination may not be out there on the floor together. For me, just to sit there and say that Kobe's going to be our starter and that's it, I don't want to get into that, because I think we've got to try to do what's best for the group. I do think that Kobe's got to be an important part and piece to our team. I don't think there's any question about that. Kobe got a lot of experience last year. I think you look at Larry with the injury, Wendell with their injury. As young players, they got, a lot of experience. So, I don't want to sit there and say they're seasoned guys, but they've gone through a lot, both individually and both collectively as a team, and they've had to battle their own, injuries, so to speak. And, they've learned a lot. And I think you want to keep with those guys. I mean, coming out of college, all those guys, I think, were highly regarded and good players, but they got to keep growing. They got to keep getting better. They, I think, have to look internally of, what they experienced this early part of their careers, and, what have they learned and how can they get better? And then how can myself and the staff and all of us work to try to help them get better? But I don't think there's any question. We got to continue to work with Kobe and help him, and, just to see how he does, back there at that spot. And, in talking to him, like I said earlier, he felt like there was a lot for him to learn. It's a really hard position to go from college to the NBA, being so young and running that point guard position. Listen, I had, Chris Paul last year, who's a 14-year veteran, and, it was just amazing. But, he probably evolved over his career into who he's become. And, I think that, all these guys that are young that get playing time, I think it's how they internalize their experiences and how they utilize them to get better.
Thank you.
Yep.
Billy, our next one comes from Mike McGraw. Mike, go ahead.
Hey, Billy, I don't think we've ever asked you about Adam Makoka, but I saw that he's not with the team, it said on the injury report. Just curious what's up with him.
Yeah, I think coming back with COVID and, certainly passport, those kind of things, it's been really challenging. He is in town now. There'll be, like the rest of the guys that come in, some protocols and things that he'll have to go through. But, it's been a challenging time, especially for guys that, are from out of the country coming back in with COVID and just a lot of challenges. But, he is back now. I'm not quite sure, because it was this afternoon when I had a chance to see him briefly. So I'm not quite sure how, what actually all the steps that he's going to have to take before he can get, with our team.
Okay, thanks.
All right. That looks like our last question for now. So we'll see you guys after the game. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, appreciate your patience.